Let's go team. Momentum makers. Choo choo. Welcome to class 3 of Momentum Makers. I'm Leigh-Ann and I'm joined by Tara, my friend and Zoom host.
Here from the closet.
So in class 3 today, we're going to have a discussion period, then look at category trains and action train with a space for questions and assistance. I originally had the legacy deck preview included in today's class, but I wanted us to have a lot more time to use the train method rather than informing you too much. So I just moved it to next week and we can look at it then. Today's discussion is, how are you feeling about the train method? Has it clicked for you? Are you feeling stuck or confused? Please open up. I know Natalie had a good week with her line of travel. In the post here, I share that she completed 9 of 13 items in her deck. So I want to congratulate you. Good job. And it really encouraged me to hear that. She said that it was a game changer because before the line of travel exercise, she might have had that stuff on her mind and completed like 1 or 2, but because of the system and the exercise, she was able to complete 9.
Thanks, Leigh-Ann.
You're welcome. Good job.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I found it really helpful. It was like a game I was playing with myself. So some days I would lay the cards out and sort of like decide what I was gonna do today and what I was gonna leave for a different day. And then I would stack them up and just do the like, okay, just the thing on the top. And then when I went in my car, I like got an elastic and I brought my little card stack with me. So sometimes when I'm in the city, I end up like sitting in a parking lot for 20 minutes waiting for a meeting or just between places. And so then I'd look down, okay, I should, make this phone call or do this task. And so, yeah, I found it really helpful. I liked it. I'm
Awesome.
excited to make another stack this week because today now it's Monday and I haven't done anything today and I have all these things in my brain. I'm just like, okay, I got to sit down and write down my 13 tasks for this week.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah, do it.
I wanted to first of all say congratulations, Natalie. That's friggin' epic. Yeah, I find that really inspiring actually the way that you described it because I was struggling a little bit with my deck. My brain was thinking that I had to do them in order of like A to King, and that really threw
Natalie's
me
proud.
off. And I feel like that's not necessarily how you have to use. I really like what you
Mhm.
were saying, just kind of shuffling, going through and seeing what was calling you in the moment or what you had capacity for. So I'm gonna keep that in mind moving forward. One thing that I did do is I use the train method in a couple different ways. So I made a train a line of travel for my morning routine.
Mm.
I took a video of it and tried to send it to you, LA, but it was too big for the email, so I need your number. But yeah, so I was excited about that and I find it really helpful. So every morning, I look at it and like as I'm going through my routine, I'm like, oh, what did I not do yet? Because sometimes I don't have time to do all of it. It's kind of like my perfect morning.
Mhm.
Um, but and so sometimes the order changes a little, but I think it's more or less in my ideal order, but just having it on my wall somewhere easy to read and go back to
Mm.
is really helpful, especially when my brain's still turning on in the morning. And then that's also something that I've been working on for a long time is trying to figure out my morning routine. So I'm really grateful that I have something that's supporting me with that now. Because before I just had it as a list, but it
Yeah.
just like it wasn't working. Like it just wasn't helping me. But having like each one break down into the sticky notes was really great. I did stack some of them on the same sticky note if there were habits I've already paired together, like brushing my teeth and washing my face. That's one task for me because I always do that together. Um, but yeah, the other thing that I did was I created like I started using Trello, so I'm doing some kind of advocacy work off the side of my desk with a friend of mine, and we were having some conversations around our next steps. So I used Trello to sort of break those down a little bit. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I one thing that I am struggling with also is, well, I will say with the cards, I got some of those done, not 9 or whatever,
That's
but I don't
okay.
maybe 4. Um, but it's still a start. And what I really appreciated about it, and I didn't realize it until several days after, but just doing the simple exercise of writing out all of those things, like just what is it? What do you call it? It's train storming,
Train storming.
getting it all out onto the cards and like placing them individually on each one. There was something about that ritual that really inspired me to like have more motivation to do
Mm.
those tasks. So even though some of them aren't complete yet, I feel like I have a better sense and grasp of, hey, I really want to do that thing and I'm going to. It feels like it's more likely to happen now. Um,
That's excellent.
yeah, sorry, I'm really taking up a lot of space, but
No,
I
you're
do want to
fine.
share one more thing. And that is that I one thing I am really struggling with still, and I don't know if anybody has any tips for this, but it's one thing to get things, into a train or get things organized, but it's another thing to find time to do the things. So yeah, I mean that's a whole other topic, I guess, but I don't know if anybody has any tips or something, but I don't know. I'm that's just something I'm still struggling with.
I could share a little bit. Um, I went a little Trello crazy. I'm really liking it. Um, I did a couple um post-it ones during last week's Motivation Makers, Momentum Makers. Um, but and then I went into Trello and started playing, and I am really happy with how that's going. So I've mostly been sticking with that.
Mhm.
Um, I think there will be certain moments where the post-its will be what makes sense, but mostly I'm really liking using Trello. I created like a master train that is like all areas of my life, and each section is like a section of my life, like kind of broken down similarly to the how you did
The action, the action train with
yeah.
the predetermined cars, I think you mean.
Yeah, I think that was yeah, and with the one that had
The
family
legacy deck.
members and as well as work and household and all those things.
Yes.
So I kind of have that master train, and then I created a train that is like all the things I have to do every month for unconventional connections in-person meetings. So that's broken down into one place.
Mhm.
The one thing I'm wishing that you could do a little bit easier is mirror so you can mirror a single card or task in more than one place, so you can update it in one and it kind of goes to both places, but you can't do that with a whole list, and I wish you could
Mhm.
do that with a whole list. But you can copy a whole list. So I did a train that's my week. And so I was able to copy one list from the monthly unconventional connections and just move that into my week, because I wanted to get all of that one list of things done in this week.
Yeah.
And it felt really nice feeling that organized, and I don't have to figure out each of these things individually anymore. I can just
Mhm.
clump it. So
Mhm.
that was really useful.
That's great, Mary. That's great. Yeah, Mary sent me an email with her Trello train. I was pretty excited because Trello is a game changer if you're not wanting to use the paper method, which can be time consuming. Hi, Lisa. Good.
Um, I am very much a procrastinator and very much in need of this course. However, I'm not doing so well with it. I'm just wondering if anybody else is kind of feeling the way I am, where I'm behind the eight ball and behind in the class, and just I get a grasp on everything, but I'm not feeling it yet to
Mhm.
really get my trains going and everything else like that. I'm not feeling the excitement that I want to be.
Mhm. I'm not sure if anybody here is feeling how you're feeling, but I've had people feel this way before. Um, and because it's a lot of information to ingest and understand. Like we can work together one-on-one if you want to build some trains and get practice.
That would be a good idea. We'll discuss
Cool.
that later.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is what you're dealing with, Lisa, but I would suggest trying to start as small as you can with the train. Because if you're trying to take on everything in your life or a really big project or something like that, that's going to make it a little more difficult. When Leigh-Ann first showed this to me a long time ago, it just overwhelmed me. And I was like, why is there so much? So I took it back and started with something really, really small. Um, and then the pieces of it and the reasoning started to click a lot more for me. And then I started to get excited, being like, oh, but if this does, then that does, and that kind of thing. So that might help. I don't know if it does or not, but for me, it helped to kind of simplify it as much as possible and work on a really, really small train as opposed to, a super long one with all these, like not trying to fix my whole life in one train kind of thing, So that might help.
That's great advice, Jay.
Yeah, I jump in too.
Yeah, I like that advice. I feel the same as Lisa.
Mm, I wanted to jump in for both of you then. In addition to what Jay said, one thing that I remembered LA teaching us or talking about, I haven't used this method myself, and I will say I have I used to be a major procrastinator as well, and it's just been a lot of like personal training on getting motivated and being medicated for ADHD and all kinds of things like that. However, um one thing that I think is helpful that LA has mentioned is like incorporating those little rewards in between. So I don't know if there's anything that can motivate you around that, but like if you combine making a smaller train and then also including little rewards, like I know LA was like, I'm gonna get myself a Starbucks, but like, maybe it's like a little treat for yourself, or maybe it's something like, cuddles with your pet, or you go for a nice walk, or you take a bath, or just something that motivates you. So you're like, okay, I got these like 4 things done in my train, and then the 5th item on the train is, that treat or reward. Sometimes that can be really helpful as well. But it's not for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I think I started big. Like I'm like, okay, I gotta plan my wedding. And I was like, holy crap. And I'm like, then I sat down, I'm like, I can't do this. I think that's probably why it's overwhelming to me. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah, and I showed you so many examples with like 15 train cars, but you could easily go with 5 or 4 or 3 and just have your engine caboose and a few train cars in between. Today, our category trains are going to simplify the process. Um, I'm learning as I teach this a way I could teach it in a better order for your understanding. So you're all in a beta mode where I'm learning as I go. But I think that the categories trains are simpler. So next time I would start there after the line of travel feature. Category trains are a flexible approach to organizing by category without a fixed sequence. They provide a flexible way to organize ideas, tasks, and projects without requiring a strict order. So unlike sequence trains, which we did last week, they follow a step-by-step structure. The category trains allow for grouping by themes, topics, and collections. This makes them especially useful when structure is needed, but a rigid sequence isn't the best fit. Instead of focusing on dependencies like we had with the sequence train, the category trains create a system where ideas can flow freely. It makes them more perfect for those who prefer a more adaptable and dynamic approach to organization. So that's what we're looking at today. And then we'll look at the action train, which is an example of a category train, because each category or each train car is just a group. It's not a sequence that depends on itself. Last week, Tina shared, she pointed out that the features I have in my trains called At the Moment and To Do were something helpful to her. So I've added them into class 2, but I wanted to go over it quickly in class 3 today. So ongoing train cars that I use are, we've got the engine and the caboose, which you're used to. But in column A, we've got At the Moment. That's a train car you'll see today in the examples, and it's a spot to share where you're at, leave yourself reminders, and track your current status. Then in column 2, we've got to do, and that's a specific spot to track your to-dos on a train. When there's predetermined train cars like action, I always make number 8 a wild car. That way there's an opening for whatever you can think of that I missed. So ways to use category trains. We're going to start with this very basic train called organizing the toy room. Each train car serves as a heading with related ideas, tasks, or items grouped underneath in the cargo section. I'm going to expand this and go into Trello. And again, if you like Trello, but you're not sure how to use it, I built a Trello tour, which is in our YouTube. Okay, so this train is called Organizing the Toy Room. I've got At the Moment, this is collapsible, and I'm making a grouping system in this train. So that's what I'm doing at the moment right now. There's also a to-do column. And here we've got 3 train cars. So I'm organizing a toy room. We've got pouches for small stuff, bins and containers for bigger things, and a craft corner. Pouches are an organizing technique I use. I just use like, Clinique pouches. They come with makeup. You buy them at the thrift store, whatever. And I put my daughter's tiny toys inside so that each collection has its own organization pouch. Plus, it acts as like a surprise toy for her when she pulls it out each time because they're always different. So in this pouches column, I thought of the tiny toys she has. Then in bins and containers, there's things like her Cabbage Patch, Lego blocks, Hot Wheels, Barbies, anything I want to put in a bigger container. And then in the craft quarter, items like markers, paper, glue, no glitter, never any glitter, foamies, googly eyes, etc. The result of this train is that the toy room is systemized. So if I wanted to take this train now that it's made and use it, I would go grab all the pouches and all the tiny toys, sit there and group those up and do all that. Or I could just pick one item and like make a pouch for it and do it little by little. I don't have to tackle it all at once, but it's an activity where I have the outline and I just get to check, 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 check. Does this make sense so far?
How do you check on Trello?
Oh, good question. Mary and I figured out a way. Now it's called labels. You go to your labels, which you go edit card, edit labels, and then you can create a label called done. I've done that here. You click done, and then you see this shape, the gray. If you click that, it will show the word done on all of the items that you have. And so you can create any label you want. So a household train is a simple way to organize cleaning and upkeep tasks room by room. Each train car represents a different space with a list of tasks for that area in the cargo section. I only expanded this train a little bit because what I wanted to point out was the section 6 right here. And the fact that this is a household train, when we get to the action train section, we're going to come back to this. So we'll look back in a moment. Now, the next one is a party planning train. This is a great tool for planning both small and large events because you can make each train car focus on a different category, such as venue, food, drinks, decorations, entertainment, the guest list, the theme, anything you want. So I created this train. It's a little longer. I just have a zoomed in version here. I created this train for a New Year's Eve party I was throwing in 2023. And this was our initial kind of brainstorming session of what we would do at the party. Next is a train called the Side Hustle Small Biz Train. This train is one that I recommend playing with if you're thinking of starting a business because there's predetermined train cars. I've got a template here so you can copy and paste this into any document you want and then put bullets below for your own ideas or use those as headings for the train style that you like to build. And here we have a moving train. Again, these are all category trains, which means there's no sequence. And a category train uses the same method to build the train as all the other trains we've built. So they're all using target, record, assemble, iterate, and navigate. And that process is the same. The difference here is that we've just given it a different intention. You don't have to know I'm making a category train or I'm making a sequence train today. You don't have to use a voice. But if you know the types of trains you can build, they might inspire you to go in different directions. Next is a TikTok video concept train. Okay, this helps with editing videos when clips are recorded out of order. I have a TikTok and I use this train to plan what my video would be, but I recorded everything in different orders. And then I use this train to edit and put my video into sequence. So it was a kind of an introduction when I came back on TikTok. So I did a show and tell video and I did things about myself, things about my favorite things and collections, fun facts, and my values. So now we're going to do an exercise where I'd like you to work on a train of your own, not with a buddy or the class. Instead, I want you to pull out your favorite style for building trains. Could be Trello, could be Post-its, could be something you've a hybrid, and we're going to build a train. So I'm recommending that you pick a basic category train so that you can practice with ease how to build a train. But if that's already starting to click for you and you want to go in one of the other directions, there's examples of household train, the party planning. I wouldn't recommend starting with the side business. That's quite detailed, but it does have predetermined train cars, which can be helpful. And then there's a few other options. I have a timer. Check it out. There's magnets. I got it at 11 minutes. And I want you to work on your own train. Essentially, it's just a chance for you to work on your train and then say, I need help whenever you get stuck or feel you need help.
Choo choo, all aboard, momentum makers. You've got 2 minutes left in this section.
How did that feel? Did you make some progress? Run into any roadblocks? It was more of a traffic one than trains, but
Actually, I did a very simple one. So
good.
I feel good when it's easy.
Yeah, I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, so I did organizing my cupboards to take all the food out, everything away that's expired, clean cupboards, throw it back in.
Great. Good. And you didn't worry about color schemes, which is just a distraction. That's great.
No, geez, nice.
Yeah.
No, I'm just doing it simple.
Now we're going to move on to the action train. How to outline the main parts of life using a predetermined train cars. An action train is a structured yet flexible system for organizing key areas of life. Each spade train car represents a specific category, such as fam, work, household, experiences, and treasure, helping to track tasks, moments, responsibilities, and achievements. The train format provides a clear framework for managing priorities while allowing for flexibility, making it easy to focus on different aspects of life without feeling overwhelmed. Now here you can see my action train. I built mine in Trello and I'm going to share it with you. We're going to hop over there, but I wanted to show you if you don't want to read the definitions within my Trello train below, I created a directory of all the definitions. So you can just scroll through and read each one. Or if you go to this list where it says action train, you can click to each one. So you can jump to the definitions. I also created a PDF of the definitions, and that's here in our Dropbox. It looks like this. Okay, so we're going to go into my Trello. And I've collapsed all the columns because I want us to just look at one thing at a time. But these are expandable when you click the arrows along the top, like that. So an action train is a type of category train that outlines life's most regular categories, focusing on key areas where consistent action is needed. Now, usually in your trains, you haven't seen anything under the engine. It's been an empty column along with the rewards or the caboose having nothing underneath it. In this train, you are the engine, like Leigh-Ann is the Joker. So I want to record anything about myself in that category. And I do put things underneath that train car heading, the engine. I shared some pictures, a few quotes, anything you want. You could put your own birthday if you forget it. Then we go into FAM, and along each top, you'll see this yellow section, and I'm going to be reading those definitions of each category. Now, FAM refers to your MVPs. Mary's saying is most valuable people, and I love it. Close friends, trusted companions, and family. These are the inner circle of people who have your back and feel like home. So I put my daughter. These are the people I want to reach out to every week, maybe even every day. My uncle, Charlotte's dad, my parents, Jess, and Tara. On those cards, you can actually describe more about the person, like their birthday, what they love, what they dislike, how they take their coffee, anything that's important to remember about them. This is where you can record it. And next week, I'll show you some other ideas, but this is my favorite way because it's like all in one place. You can assign checklists. You can do so much with these cards. Next is to do, and that's a column where we're going to put to-dos. So these are actionable tasks, responsibilities, or next steps that need to be completed. I use a triangle to indicate my to-do items, making them easily identifiable. So this is an active train that I'm showing you, and it's all the things I actually have to do, what I have to do. So you get to witness a real action train. So I have a few to-dos, and like we shared earlier, I've got a label. I added a label with the triangle as a to-do indicator. You can make a label anything you want. It could say done, and then that way you don't have to archive it in order to say it's done. That's probably why Danny was asking about that, because you don't want to necessarily send it off. You might want to see it again. Next is experiences. Experiences are the moments, activities, and events that shape your life. They can be big or small, planned or spontaneous, and help you grow, learn, and see the world in new ways. I wrote a quote in mine that says, "We feel most comfortable when things are certain, but we feel most alive when they're not." In here, I've got some images from things I've enjoyed recently. This was the night I finished the first Momentum Makers. This is Chandel. Okay, this is awesome. In 1997, my family got new carpet, and we wrote on the floor like anything we wanted because it was about to be covered up. And my parents just had to replace that carpet. And this says, "My favorite thing to do is swim. And one day I wish I could swim with Keiko." That's a whale. Probably 16 years old. I had a lot of friends. Okay, there's the train restaurant and this beautiful ceiling I saw at the Non-Such restaurant. Next is brand. A brand is a personal identity that reflects your values, your passions, your style, and it shapes how you want to show up in the world, make choices, and leave an impression. As a designer, I think of a brand very visually, but my best friend is a writer and she thinks of brands completely different. She's here, Jessica. So it's going to look different for each person, but your brand is essentially it's like your style, what you feel like, what you look like, what you want to be known for. Work biz. Whether it's a job, career, or side hustle, work is about creating value, making impact, and designing a path that aligns with your goals and lifestyle. So under here, I have a task that I need to do. I put tasks at the top, or I put them straight into the to-do column, column 2. And then I've got kind of all my business directions. So my umbrella, the train method, the company I work for on Wednesdays, what I do, this class, and then the people I have one-on-one sessions with. So that's kind of how I look at my work, and it just helps keep it in one place so I don't have to remember all those elements. I don't necessarily use this train to list out what I want to do in my business tomorrow. It would be higher level stuff like big picture, and then I would make a train with a line of travel. Social includes both your social life and your online presence, shaping how you connect, communicate, and engage with others in everyday interactions, relationships, and digital spaces. So I have like a regularness to my social life, and I just kind of wrote each of those out. I talk with Jess every day on Marco Polo. I send voice memos with Tara. Like I have like a format I kind of love with each of those friends. So I wrote those in there. Under tools and skills, this is a column that I could totally do without. I'm wondering if you guys feel that way too as you get to know this train, because I'm thinking we could put something better there if it feels unimportant within this train. Feedback welcome. But tools and skills are the methods and systems that provide structure and efficiency and clarity, helping you stay organized, streamline processes, and turn ideas into action with consistency and ease. In my column, I have the train method as my organization and planning. I have what I call a mental health toolbox or tool belt. I like identity-based habits. And on here, if you click, you can go to what that means and learn more about it. So that was a spot to pop the information, pardon me. And then this is a resources list from a book I read, which was really great. Next is the wild card. In my case, I use mine for the train method. I'm not going to go into the details of that because each wild card is up to you. It's not meant to stay wild card. It's meant to be like your passion project. It's like a create your own adventure opportunity. The household train, this is the one I mentioned to take a note of in the last section. So the household train covers the upkeep, organization, and daily tasks that keep your living space running smoothly, whether managed individually or shared with others. This train is number 9 of spades, and it's just one train car. It can have cargo, but it's just one train car. When we look at, I'm going to jump up. When we look at this train, this is a whole train expanded. So it's like I took that train car from the action train and went, let's build this out into a whole process about household rather than just kind of popping things below it. I wanted to really expand on it. So this household train then gives me more details related to that action train. And it's like a zoom in. Furthermore, the laundry train that you learned when we were in class 1 is another zoom in within this train. So I'm trying to show you here how trains can connect to others or be like expandable if you need more space for that information, more so if you need to put that topic through the train process and expand on it. Back to here. And you can see I tasked some of my items with dates, the edit dates right here. You can select it, assign it, have it tell you reminders by email. It's pretty cool. Next is treasure. Treasure is everything that relates to your soul, spirituality, or personal magic. It's the deeper, meaningful aspects of life that bring you purpose, connection, and a sense of wonder. Ooh. Hi, Violet.
My question is, which version of Trello do you have?
Mm.
Because there's a free one, but then some of the like I can't expand the board and
Really?
blow it up. Like the little cards, that's
Yeah,
not
like
an option on the basic one.
really? Like this
Oh,
feature.
found it.
So you want to go to edit card and then open card. And if it doesn't do that, that's a shame. But I think it does do it. I have the premium version, but I believe Mary's been using Mary, did you go premium? I think that the feature should work without premium, but I'll look into it and get back to you. Okay, Violet?
Okay, yeah, because it's just free, standard, and premium. And like premiums for like a company.
Yeah. It's like $36 a month. I don't want you to need that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks. I'm going to get back to you. Okay, Violet? I'll have an answer in the next class.
Okay.
So treasure is a column that can capture anything that's the deeper meaning to your life, whatever that looks like for you. Health and care encompasses physical, mental, and emotional well-being, supporting a balanced, nourished, and fulfilling life. The healthcare train is kind of funny right there. It's a depressed flatbed. The last few, we've got a calendar space to organize your life, schedule, and upcoming dates, helping you track important events, tasks, and commitments with flexibility and ease. Now, you'll notice in here, I've got some ideas of things, but they're like 2 or 3 per month. This isn't the place I put my full calendar or a full line of travel. It's more like, here's a dentist appointment. Don't forget that. Or a house party, So that's not the place I use for my calendar. It's just calendar topics that I want to keep in mind and are coming up. Finances. Here you stay on top of your finances by tracking bills, income, savings goals, and deadlines to keep your money organized and under control. Plan ahead for expenses, manage cash flow wisely, and align your financial goals with your lifestyle. So here I put all of my bills into here in order of when they're withdrawn. And I've got kind of a code for myself. So I created a little legend right here. W is Wayne, triangle is something I have to manually pay, V is Visa, that kind of thing. So if you want to use the method I'm using, I've got like the amount each month, the bill itself, and then the day of the week and how it's withdrawn. That's the format I was using. And then the purpose, live with purpose by aligning your actions with what truly matters to you, creating meaning, impact, and direction in everything you do. The purpose section is something you need to dig deeper with for yourself. You might already know your life's purpose, or you might be on that journey, but this is a place that, in like a short sentence, what is your purpose in life? Keep it at the forefront so that you remember why you're putting all this action into play. And your homework for the week is to continue building the train you started earlier today. And then if it's usable, try applying it to your life. If that happens and you're done and you want to build more trains, that's a great opportunity to practice. But all I want for you this week is to continue using your line of travel, those cards, and to keep building trains so that it clicks more and more. I want us to instead have time to work on our trains more and talk as a class about anything that's on your mind with the train method. Natalie, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I had an idea when you were going through that last train, when you mentioned that maybe you could remove one category if we had any ideas. If it was my train, I would want to have a category that was for like dreams, goals, bucket list, something like that. Maybe call it a train.
That's a great idea.
Keep track of these things that I want to do sometime, you know, to remember what's on my bucket list.
That's a great idea. I like that better than methods and systems or skills.
Yeah, it's like a little more inspiring, you know, like someday I want to do this, you know, Disneyland or like, you know, whatever the things are that you want to do, right? Hike a trail, you know, anything.
And it's different than treasure, because treasure's more spiritual. This is like
right. Treasure's more personal. I would have a category for things that I want to do someday, you know, so keep it in my mind. So I just thought I'd share.
That's a great idea. Anybody want to vote on that? Because I think we should change it. This seems so much more inspiring. Hey, yeah, good job, Natalie. You're in. Violet, please go ahead.
I love the idea that you just had, Natalie. I want to thumbs up that. That was great, because it's always like, it's like a Pinterest board, you know, you pin all the things that, but sometimes you need more than just cute pictures to remind you of what you want. But my question was, are you going to have like a screenshot of your Trello board up so we don't forget what you shared with us? Because it's kind of a good template, you know?
Yeah, it is. I believe that if you click the link on the page.
Well, you're going to post this video up, right?
I'm going to post it, but also this right here in Trello link should take all of you to my board. Like I made it so that you can all observe it and see it. Can anyone confirm that it worked?
Yeah, it asks for a request. So I just sent a request.
Okay, so send me a request and I'll approve it. I'm sorry that it, you know, has an extra step.
I had an alternative idea for if you wanted to mark stuff done. It messes with your format a tiny bit of the last car being just like your goal, like the goal or the end result, but having an additional essentially car at the end that is complete or done or whatever you want to title it, and you can move whatever like cards into that final list at the end on Trello that would be like titled complete or done or whatever.
That's a super good idea. I did that at one stage. I had like a plus column that was an extra train car for all the done stuff. You could definitely use the caboose underneath the caboose. That works just as good. Thanks, Mary. Oh, I was going to say that if you go into the power ups feature on Trello, you can enable a to-do extension that allows you to move it to done by just clicking a box. So you don't have to slide it manually, Mary. It would allow you to just check a done box and move it. It moves it itself. So you can enable that in the power ups feature. Jay, go ahead.
Oh, just within Trello, one thing I did when I was using it before, just as like a regular to-do list, it can still apply to this though, is for each task that you have on a board, you can assign a cover to it. And I used that to color code things. So when they were done, I could mark them red, and it didn't cover it up. It just put a red, kind of turned the top third of it red. So then I knew everything was red. I didn't need to worry about it.
That's cool.
And that's just in like from the 3 dots, I think.
Yeah, if you go here, you can change the whole list's color. Is that
Yeah,
what
and
you're talking
then
about?
no, each task you can also change the color.
Oh, neato.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing like the images for covers, but you're just
Mhm.
choosing a color. So I'm
Yeah.
going to show us what that means. See, he's got a, oh, that's pretty. That's nicer than necessarily like seeing done, the grade done, depending on how much you want to emphasize how awesome you are at getting things done. Okay, I think we are kind of wrapping up early. Does that feel exciting to anyone? Because I'm shocked. We'll have a lot more time again next week to play with the train method and play with trains so that you can feel more and more certain about how to implement it and incorporate it. I think next week I'd like to share more ideas of how to make the train method a part of your lifestyle, not just like a playing with post-its to make a plan. How I make those plans become part of my life and incorporate them to get them done. I'm going to release you to go build trains and go to bed, whatever you need to do. But I want to share that I feel really happy with the progress you made. I think that it takes time to learn the train method, and I can see it clicking at different points for each of you. And I encourage you to start small so that you don't overwhelm yourself and like do the 5 steps on something you know how to do, and then try it with something you don't know how to do, because you'll learn and you'll teach yourself what you didn't know as you train storm and as you build your train. You'll be able to see the missing components and fill them in and feel a lot more in charge and empowered to tackle what you built that train out of. Thank you very much for being here. I'll see you next Monday for our last class and graduation. Tara and I have grad hats. You're welcome to bring your own. And I'll have a certificate for you as well for completing Momentum Makers. Bye-bye.